It's a building that changed our understanding of the Romans. It's also a building that was rebuilt from the much older structure. It's a building that has stood for over 2000 years. It is the Roman Pantheon, one of the most impressive buildings in Rome. High 43 meters, diameter 43.5 meters. This is the only building in the world whose roof is made of unreinforced concrete, so called Roman concrete. We already know what it is. And this is essentially the largest dome of unreinforced concrete ever made by human. There is no doubt that it was made by human. Its walls are made of bricks mixed with Roman concrete. The thickness of the walls at the base reaches 6 meters. The interior decoration, of course, very rich. There is marble, granite, exquisite columns, capitals. The dome framed from the bottom of bricks and plastered from the inside, forming a decorative semblance of a frame. In fact, this frame doesn't make the structure lighter, but only makes it heavier. Under the dome we see windows. There is a corridor there, which tourists of course cannot go into. But some windows are not closed. You can see that the walls there are not plastered, and you can see the bricks. Apparently some works is being done there now. In general, it would be very interesting, of course, to take a look there. But of course, restoration works here since the construction of this building, as it seems to me, hasn't stopped and is still in progress. But it's in principle not surprising. The structure, which is more than 2000 years old, is cracking at the seams, and this ceiling has been repaired many times. Even in our time there were serious cracks. Of course, it's strange structure with the hole in the ceiling. If it rains, there is always water pouring here. If it snows, there is snow. It is strange that they didn't install some kind of storm drain here. But the most interesting thing, of course, is outside. These granite columns that support this portico, this is nothing other than a part of an ancient temple of the gods, an ancient building of the gods. These columns, brought from Egypt, made of grey and red granite, 1.5 meters in diameter, 16 meters high, including capitals. This is 60 tons in weight just for one column. Only here in the structure we see walls made of travertine, pseudo columns made of travertine, and powerful multi-ton beams that support this entire structure. This is nothing more than an ancient temple that was almost fully destroyed, probably blown up, and a crater was left after this explosion. It is exactly the size of this brick dome of the Pantheon. This is what was left, and the Romans decided to recreate this temple, but in their own way. Of course, it wasn't possible to restore it as it was. Here on the other side, we see the remaining columns of this temple. This is the back row of columns from the original temple. Well, more precisely, one column and some decorative elements, beams, and here below some elements still remain. Apparently they were buried by this flood and have already been excavated in our time. And there is still half of column left. They apparently didn't want to demolish them, but simply around the remaining elements of this temple they built a pantheon, which became a symbol of the unification of the remaining gods after the war. We see here that part of the walls is completely bricked up. Apparently, it was very badly damaged, and some stones were laid. In the upper part, we see that this is already a reconstruction. They were apparently put back well, as if to not spoil the composition with bricks, for example. Then they set it up as they wanted. By the way, don't forget that there must be a bunker underneath this structure, as in all such temples. And these giant 16 columns are simply incredible. It's amazing how they remained standing after such a powerful explosion. And it turns out that this hole in the roof seems to symbolize the place where this shell hit, destroying the main part of the temple.